It's hard to hear the news today. It's hard to see the painful way our stinking thinking feeds only the self. The me and mine, the us and them, continuing the suffering. What can I do to ease this living hell? Finding purpose in a world on fire as far as I can see. Trying not to add my kindling or emotional gasoline. Surrounded in this smoky life, I can barely breathe. But my deconstructing self, we are free. We are free. We are free.
Welcome. My name is Amy, and I'm the director of Heartwood Refuge and Retreat Center. We are located in Hendersonville, North Carolina, in the gorgeous Blue Ridge Mountains of the western part of the state. Heartwood Refuge is not only a retreat center, but it's also a residential community, service training institute, and wellness hub. Although the majority of our renovations are complete, we are still in the process of forming all of these wonderful aspects of Heartwood. It is our true aspiration to be a sanctuary for all beings who are devoted to purification. Heartwood Refuge is a multi-lineage Buddhist center where all traditions are invited into the Heartwood community.
Done that. So I want to dispel this myth that there's no effort involved in that. If we're sitting in meditation, that we're just sitting. We're not just sitting. We are training at the time we're sitting. It says breathing in and breathing out, we train. Breathing in and breathing out, we train. So we need to know what we're training to do, what we're training the mind to do, how we're training the heart to be in this world. So I always ask the question, what are you looking for and why are you here? If we don't know what we're looking for, if we can't identify some kind of a search or some kind of a hunger, then we're basically wasting our time because the personal conviction will not be there. The effort that's needed for us to apply ourselves in such a way so that the heart can become full and fulfilled will not be there. The willingness that we have to have, it's really a matter of what are you willing to do to bring happiness into your life? What are you willing to give up? What are you willing to change? It's going to cost you something. And so unless we're willing to invest ourselves in this way, it's no point in starting this journey. You're only going to be frustrated with yourself. You come here when you're ready to train. And so we call it a practice for that reason. But here's the thing about practice. At some point, you want to get out and play in the real game. And so how we do that depends on, and if we get to do that, depends on how well we have practiced. So always remember, practice doesn't make perfect, but perfect practice makes perfect.
So we blame it on somebody else or something else. We say it's the system. The system is broken. Religion doesn't work. Prayer doesn't work. Love doesn't work. Kindness doesn't work. Friendship doesn't work. They are the flaws. Because it's hard to say that the only reason that I've got this pain in my heart, the only reason that I think this day sucks is because I am the problem. And you're really not the problem. The problem is you don't understand what the problem is. Do you understand what I'm saying? Is it clear? Until we understand what the problem is, we can't solve the problem.
I've loved being here. It's been just inspiring to see all the giving that's happening all the time, all the building, all the projects, and Panavati's heart is just so palpable, and she's giving so freely, and I can just feel the Dharma in a very clear way here.
And so the Buddha tells us that suffering, comes or is born from those who are dear. Now we think of relationships as a wonderful thing, getting that girl, getting that guy, having our children, having the loves of our life. But he says what you have to recognize is that inherent in that happiness is the seed of suffering. When they leave you, when they die, when they choose somebody else, when they break off the relationship. So what he's trying to get us to do is to recognize that even the things that we desire the most and that we think will bring us the most happiness, right there in those very things, in those very relationships, is the seed of suffering. And this is a part of life.
Buddhism has helped me sort of manage my own emotions, stay calm and peaceful if that's what I want. I mean, if that's who I am, and not necessarily be rocked by the rest of the world.
So this seems to me like one of those things that is simple, but it's not always easy. Frequently I find that if I have a pattern or a piece of conditioning that is really deeply ingrained, by the time I recognize it, I've moved through contact to feeling tone, to craving, to clinging, and I'm well into it to the point where it's very hard to just let it go.
The emotional experience makes it appear to be a real experience. And what we have to realize and what we have to establish ourselves in is the fact that although I have this body sensation, I have this burning that I think is anger, I have this tightness that I think is anger, I have this apprehension that I think is fear. It's all still generated by me clinging. And all I have to do is release the clinging. And it goes away because it's all illusionary.
And so, how has Buddhism helped you?
It's given me the opportunity to really kind of channel and focus my energy and take the times that seem stressful and understand that it's all temporary, and to be able to be more accepting and have a more quiet mind and more quiet approach, and in the moments that are peaceful to have more gratitude for them.
My experience at Heartwood was really incredible. I come from the Zen tradition, and this was my first time attending a retreat here. And my experience of Panavati's teaching is that it's crystal clear. The teachings are relevant. There's a sense of shared humanity and interconnection, a sense of diversity and inclusivity in the room. So as for the center, it's an absolute refuge. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. It's a place for meditation and contemplation, interconnection. I felt very supported here in my practice and very welcome from the moment I came in.
So sometimes I'm called to mediate disputes. The thing is, I didn't see it and I didn't hear it. And so when I get the people together, here's where I am. Whatever was said or done has already occurred. The important thing is, where do we go from this place from this point. And if I can help one to understand that perhaps they saw things according to their own propensities, according to their own perceptions, then maybe we can come to a conclusion that things weren't exactly as they thought they were, and we set up a foundation for peace and moving forward in harmony.
I was a lifelong criminal, and I came into practice when I was in prison for the third time. The Dhamma has really dramatically changed my life, to be certain, and to say the least. The Dhamma shattered my old view of what I thought the world was and who I thought I was and my place in the world.
You've got to ask yourself the question, why am I doing this? I don't have to. And then make the choice to do something different. But if you don't remember to remind yourself that you have a choice, you will feel that you don't have a choice. And you will continue to grovel and feel the heat and wonder why life is treating you the way it is.
Once upon a time, a long time ago, I was in this little country called Vietnam. And it was a very high stress situation made for a very reactive me, and high tension, high anger. Since Buddhism, it seems like I'm saying bye to anger, bye to tension. Life is, they say, pick your battles. So I've actually been able to do that, you know. Once in a while I might get angry just to clear out the cholesterol, I guess. But essentially, I don't let it disrupt my nervous system, you know, where I'm really feeling it and rattled. I don't do that anymore. Before Buddhism, I sure did that. And I actually, from Vietnam in the military, I actually filed my teeth down, gritting my teeth all the time, because I was so incensed by the insensitivity I saw all around me. But with Buddhism, I guess it's given me wisdom that you can dance around the imperfect world.
So we think about this teaching on voidness, and we're always talking about the void, emptiness. But the Buddha's talking really about something else. He tells us to look at what is not present, voidness in that sense. We're always looking at what is there and trying to decide what to do about things. But he says also look at what is not there, and then we have a balanced view for making an assessment.
See what the contact, see what the condition is, see what the feeling, see what the arising feeling is, see what the subsequent perception, and if I can say drama that we create on the screen of the mind. And the mind is really just something.
And you wake up the next day cradling your bad habit in your arms. It's like the women that repeatedly return to their abusers. You have to admit the depth of your attachment. the strength of your fear as you lose the solidity of self. Admit how much you love and need the illusions, the distractions. You have the guides that will lead you on the path to the true nature that you already have. You can't fail. And I look at it this way, living in darkness is not failure, it's suffering.
That's what happened. But it's the magic of the Dharma. The Dharma is magical. Leading these retreats is the most wonderful thing. It really is. So wonderful. To have people come, wanting to learn, being so open, being willing to spend 3 days in silence. I find that peace within. It's very, very special. Very special.
In Buddhist terms, we would just say we're trying to know life as it is. That in this moment there's this recognition that there are things going on in here that I like, things going on in here I'm indifferent to or neutral about, and things going on in here that I don't like, that I disapprove of, or that I'm afraid to know or see or feel. So having sort of that experience of multiplicity is not a disorder. Being dissociated from it is the disorder.
And so this is what starts to really transform our life. So it's making sure that the training of the mind is not limited just to our meditation practice, but that everything we say and do is informed by that practice. Everything we say and do is coming from wholesome mind states. It's coming from a genuine wish to brighten the lives of everyone we encounter. And you'll notice that this doesn't just make everybody else happier, it makes you incredibly joyful. And you can reflect on it. The Buddha encouraged us to reflect on our own generosity, to reflect on our own goodness. So you can be kind to someone and then reflect. I was kind to this person and it made him happy. Isn't that lovely? I'm a good person. Isn't that wonderful? And you'll notice how joyful the mind becomes when you reflect on your own goodness. So don't forget that step.
Why they you think Koreans or Japanese?
Well, they are. They're Japanese. Eddie This past week, I was with my family, and my mother's beloved has been given a pretty short life sentence with the leukemia that he's suffering from, and this all happened very quickly. Okay. So as I'm there being a witness and also assisting with the pain and the despair and the suffering and the spinning out, I'm trying to find somewhere within, like in my practice, so where does this all, and I found myself becoming lost.
Okay.
Being a witness to this. So where in that practice of being awake and mindful, what can I do, I guess, is my question.
Okay. Teaching and living the way of awareness in the very midst of suffering and confusion. So the first thing is that it reminds us not to spin on ourselves, to understand the event, the experience, as one that is not personal, as an advent of a situation that occurs because another condition exists. So in other words, we die because we're born. We don't die because we're bad. We don't die because we're being punished. We die because we were born. And understanding that transition, that necessary transition, frees us from all of the attachment we have to life. We understand impermanence. But as I said earlier, we also understand that everybody doesn't understand. And so we witness the suffering And we do our best to give them tools with which to diminish the suffering that they are experiencing. But we also acknowledge that some will listen and embrace it and use it, some won't. And we're okay with, we love them either way. And we love them enough to allow them to have the experience that they obviously want to have. Although they're saying, what can I do? What should I do? I don't like this. But if you say, well, turn left, and they go, no, I'm going to go straight. And that's, you know, it's obvious to the compassionate mind that that's what they need to do for whatever reason they need. And you love them enough to allow them that experience that they are so embrace them, so engross them.
Heartwood's a wondrous place. It was imagined and created by people who live their lives in every day and hour and minute in harmony with the Dhamma. And the heart of Heartwood is Panyawati and Dhammadina, two really eloquent and spectacular teachers of the Dhamma.
How has your Heartwood experience been?
We were fortunate enough to stay in the actual house, and it is a beautiful place. It has the feel of an old Victorian mansion, and so it is these true hardwood floors, spacious rooms, color, and a warm, kind of inviting place to be. And so, and then of course Venerable Panawati and Venerable Panadipa, and just all the staff, the cooks, everybody was very gracious, very kind, and very giving, so that you would have a good experience. So.
And Heartwood itself is a wonderful environment. Maybe that's biased, but I really appreciate places that have a lot of nature. So it's nice to have the lake nearby and the big old hardwood trees and pine trees that are around, and the atmosphere created by the abbot. Venerable Pandavati is a wonderful sister. So she wasn't, our program didn't include her, but we were lucky enough to hear one of her lively Dhamma talks, which she calls the Pentecostal Dhamma. So very lively and enthusiastic, really heartfelt, touching.
So how it has really benefited me is that it helped me to better be able to do what I want to do and to not do the things that I don't want to do. What that took was not just having a strong faith or a strong belief, but it took having a particular spiritual discipline, a practice by which I could train the mind. Heart was okay, mind needed a little bit of help. And so Buddhism actually is was for me mind training, so that my mind and my heart would line up, and my thoughts and my speech and my action would be in agreement.
Do you think there's more work to be done?
Of course I do. One reason I was willing to take it up, was because I had been a practicing Christian for 35 years, and I read this one sutta, and it said, if you follow this, that you can actually attain awakening in 7 years. I said, I can give 7 years to this. He said, matter of fact, not 7 years, 7 months. And I said, that's even better, not 7 months, 7 days. Of course, now it's been 20 years, and I have not reached awakening yet. But what I can definitely say is that I'm not the same as I used to be. I can definite progress on the path to having the kind of heart, the kind of expression in the world, the kind of care for the world that I really wanted to have.
In regards to mindfulness, the Western world, in Western psychology, the unconscious mind is eminent. Could you say a few words about how mindfulness relates to the unconscious?
It's hard to differentiate between the conscious and the unconscious because when the role of the unconscious is in play, how do you know?
You wouldn't know with the conscious mind.
Well, how would you know with the unconscious? So that's the problem. Right? That's the issue. So the instructions are to be fully aware, just be there, and then you won't know.
I think learning some of that compassion and the basic tenet of dana and generosity, just really giving with an open hand, and then also going into the silence and really training the mind. Really seeing what the mind is doing and beginning to chip away so that it might move in a direction that's more helpful.
What was the difference between other retreats you've been on, Kanavati and Kanadipa's retreat?
An example, this past New Year's retreat, we had 35 of us together, and one of us was in total silence. The rest of us were actually sharing a dharmic conversation around lunch and dinner and in the evenings. And what that did was it built this tremendous sense of Sangha. The Buddha said Sangha should interact with one another. They should blend like milk and water. And that was my experience on this retreat, coming in and meeting people I'd never met before, and over the time of being together and speaking from that place, we grew a tremendous sense of love for one another, a tremendous sense of respect. And we're all quirky and we have our little human things, but it was beautiful to see how we all held each other in a place of community. And the community we built was so precious. And that opportunity, I've not seen that in any other retreat.
Experience here was wonderful. I've been to a number of retreats and you never know what to expect until you get there. And this place just felt warm from the minute I walked in. It's a wonderful effort that they're doing here to restore this facility and bring the messages of mindfulness and Buddhism into this community. The instructor here, John Orr, was absolutely phenomenal. The topic of letting go was very important to me with what I've been dealing with recently in my life, particularly the aspect of grasping, which is the second noble truth. It just really, over 3 days, I was able to immerse myself and go very, very deep and really learn more about what it means to have a truly open heart, and also regain a lot of mental clarity that I've been missing in my life recently.
This place is a real sanctuary.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because if we don't give others love, then there's no